Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 6801. In the early hours of the morning, Charlie's flight landed smoothly in Ores Hill. Feeling anxious, he got into a taxi as soon as he left the airport and returned home. Along the way, he was still wondering how he should explain if Claire asked anything. After thinking it over, he felt that denying it was the best solution. Otherwise, once she asked him why he had intimate relationships with Tawana for 4 consecutive games, it would be difficult for him to answer. In fact, Claire was also very upset at this time. She was probably sure that the mysterious male dancer should be him. However, she was a little undecided about whether to ask thoroughly. After all, she had no direct evidence to prove her conclusion. The only indirect evidence was that when the mysterious male dancer was on the stage, Charlie's phone happened to be unreachable. However, this did not necessarily prove anything. While thinking about it, Charlie found himself at the door of his house. Elaine and Jacob had already gone to bed. Claire heard Charlie opening the gate upstairs, so she hurried to the window. Seeing him entering the yard, she became even more nervous. Charlie returned home and saw that there was no one on the first floor, so he knew that everyone had gone back to their rooms. He changed his slippers and walked upstairs to the bedroom. He gently pushed the door open, and Claire just happened to come over. The two looked at each other at the door, and Claire was visibly embarrassed. She hurriedly combed her hair and said unnaturally, "Husband, you must be tired after rushing back so late." He noticed that she seemed to be a little bit wrong, but he could only pretend to be stupid and said with a smile, "I'm not tired at all, but I feel relaxed as soon as I get home." Claire saw that Charlie smiled naturally, and she felt a little entangled in her heart. One was entangled in her own judgment, and the other was entangled in whether to ask Charlie. She didn't know why, in her subconscious, she was a little afraid to get to the bottom of it. So, she looked at Charlie and asked with a smile, "Are you going to Shanghai again in a few days?" "Yes." Charlie nodded. "If you take someone's money, you have to do it to the end," Claire said with some heartache. "Thank you for your hard work. Go take a shower and rest early." Charlie was relieved to see that Claire didn't mean to ask him. After taking a shower, when he came out of the bathroom, Claire was lying on the bed reading her book. Charlie lay down beside her and asked her, "Wife, is everything okay at home during the few days I'm away?" She nodded and said, "It's fine. Mom and Dad occasionally quarrel or ridicule each other, but not excessively." "That's good." Charlie nodded. Claire remembered something and said, "By the way, husband, Mom said that she doesn't want to celebrate the New Year in Ores Hill this year." Not celebrating the New Year in Ores Hill. Charlie remembered that Elaine had said before that she wanted to go to a warmer place to celebrate. So he asked, "Is Mom still thinking about going to the south?" "Yes." Claire nodded. She feels a little tired of celebrating the New Year in Ores Hill every year, and she wants to go to the Maldives. It just so happens that Ores Hill has opened a direct flight to the Maldives. The local news has been pushed these 2 days, and she happened to see it, so she became interested. Then Claire said, "There are 2 round-trip flights every week. So we can fly there on the 28th of the 12th lunar month, and come back on the 3rd day of the 1st lunar month." She wants me to ask your opinion. Charlie smiled and asked, "Does Mom want you to ask me? Or does she want you to persuade me?" Claire smiled and said, "You know her. She just wants me to persuade you." Saying that our family hasn't really gone out for a vacation yet. Chapter 68:02. Charlie thought about the next arrangement. Really didn't have anything special to do to stay in China. Since Claire told him so, it proved that she must have been moved. Otherwise, she would have directly rejected Elaine. So, he said readily, "Okay, let's go." Claire smiled and said, "Since you agreed, I will take time to make a guide in the next few days to see which island has the best value for money." Charlie waved his hand. "Forget it, your husband has made so much money. You still want to look up the island with the best value for money. Let's not go to the most cost-effective one. Let's go to the most expensive one." After that, without waiting for Claire to express her opinion, he said without doubt, "I will arrange this matter. You don't have to worry about it." Claire knew that he had been looking at feng shui everywhere during this period of time. And he did make a lot of money. The lowest appearance fee was also 1 million. This time, the income from cooperating with Tawana was higher. The family of 4 goes out for a few days of vacation. And it would cost at most a few $100,000. Since he had this intention, he simply let him arrange it. So, Claire smiled and said, "Then I don't care about anything. Just wait for me to arrange everything." Charlie realized that he had barely passed the test, and felt much more at ease. He smiled and said, "Don't worry. My husband must have arranged everything clearly." Charlie didn't know much about the Maldives, so he planned to ask someone who knew about it the next day. No one else would say it. Warnia had been a rich lady since she was a child, and she should know more about the Maldives. The next day, Claire got up and hurriedly packed up, had dinner and went to the company. Charlie greeted Jacob and Elaine, exchanged a few words, and then took out his mobile phone to find Warnia to ask about the Maldives. When Warnia heard that Charlie was going to the Maldives, she immediately sent him a voice message. "Master Wade, if you want to go to the Maldives, I recommend the White Horse Island first. It is indeed the top luxury there. The food, entertainment, accommodation, and scenery are all the best in the Maldives." Seeing that Warnia said so, Charlie had nothing else to consider. So he immediately decided to go to White Horse Island. He replied to Warnia with a thank you. I then prepared to open the hotel and air ticket booking software to quickly decide on the itinerary. Warnia asked him again, "Master Wade, I have a ready-made travel company. Do you want me to help you arrange the itinerary directly? You can also call the Song family's private plane at any time." Charlie smiled and said, No, I plan to go out for the new year with my family. It's better to arrange it myself to avoid being discovered." Seeing him say this, Warnia no longer insisted. She knew that Charlie had not yet disclosed his identity to his wife. If she took the initiative to arrange it, she might end up doing something bad with good intentions. Charlie booked 2 water villas on Baima Island and first-class round-trip tickets for 4 people to mail, on the app. Baima Island is indeed the top luxury in the Maldives, especially during the New Year period, when the price skyrocketed. The After booking the flight tickets and hotel, Charlie told his family. The family had never gone out on vacation together, so everyone was looking forward to this short vacation. After learning that Charlie had booked Bima Island, Elaine's first thing was to show off in her circle of friends. She also specifically checked the introduction of Bima Island and the room rate from the booking page, and posted them in her circle of friends. She loves to show off the most on weekdays, so she naturally has to warm up in advance to seize such a good opportunity. Charlie can't stay in Oris Hill for a long time. Tawanna's concert in Shanghai will start in 3 days. So, after resting at home for 2 days, he will set off again to Shanghai. Shanghai is very close to Oris Hill, only 300 kilometers away. There are no direct flights, so Charlie plans to drive to Shanghai by himself. It happened that his father-in-law's first BMW 530 had been idle, so he packed a few clothes and prepared to drive this car away. When Claire sent him to the car, he did not forget to tell him to drive carefully on the road. Charlie agreed and drove the car out of Thompson. As soon as he got on the highway, he received a call from Warnia. In the past 2 days since he came back, Charlie has not gone out to see anyone, and naturally he has not seen Warnia. After answering the phone, Warnia asked Charlie, "Has the young master returned to Oris Hill?" Charlie said, "He has been back for 2 days and has left now." Warnia chuckled and said, "I know, the young master must have gone to Shanghai, right? That Tawanna seems to be holding a concert there soon, right?" "Yes," Charlie said, "I am nominally her Feng Shui director, so I have to go over to make a formality." Warnia said, "I have watched the video of her performance. The young master's swordsmanship is really smooth and impressive." Charlie exclaimed, "How do you know it's me?" Warnia smiled and said, "I am not stupid. I remember the young master's figure clearly. Even if the young master is covered, I can recognize him at a glance." Charlie felt like a thorn in his back. If Warnia could recognize her, Claire would definitely recognize her as well. Seeing that Charlie didn't say anything, Warnia smiled and said, "Sir, please don't misunderstand me. I didn't mean to tease you. I just dared to say this because we are talking here. In fact, I called you for other serious matters." Charlie sighed and asked her, "Miss Lin, please tell me what you want to say." Warnia said, "Sir, didn't you want to arrange for Miss Song to come to China safely? I asked Old Sun to ask. It just so happens that an official humanitarian rescue team will return to China in a few days. The official will send a military transport plane to Syria to pick them up. Generally, in this case, there will also be official personnel stationed there to take the plane back to China. So I asked Old Sun to prepare a military identity for Miss Song so that she can follow that plane back." When Charlie left Morocco, all the Moroccan death warriors, cavalry guards and their families, including Rhea, the assistant of the warriors' den at that time, were sent on a ship to Syria. However, Charlie did not plan to let Rhea stay in Syria. After all, she, like Jeremiah, has the strange poison left by Victoria in her body. He planned to transfer her safely to China, and then arrange for her to meet Jeremiah. Hearing that there was now a reliable channel, Charlie asked her, "Miss Lin, when will this flight take off and where will it land in China?" Chapter 6804. Warnia smiled and said, The plane will take off the day after tomorrow and land at Chongyuan Military Airport in Shanghai the day after tomorrow night. Young master happens to be going to Shanghai this time. So you can pick her up by the way. The day after tomorrow. Charlie said, the day after tomorrow is Tawanna's first concert in Shanghai. I will pick her up and it will take at least 4 days before I can go back. Will she be at risk of being exposed in Shanghai these days? Warnier said, it should be okay, because the identity I got for Miss Song this time is a military identity with a confidentiality level. The local authorities are not qualified to check her specific information. When the time comes, she will be given relevant documents. And the documents are all real, so there should be no flaws. Then, Warnier said, young master, you should drive to Shanghai this time, right? Yes. Charlie said, I'm on my way. That's good. She said with a smile. Master, please pick up Miss Song from the airport first and arrange for her to stay in the hotel where you are staying. Let her stay indoors and concentrate on her practice for a few days. After you are done, drive her back. You don't need to take public transportation. And your whereabouts will naturally not be exposed. Charlie felt that what Warnier said made sense. When it comes to hiding one's whereabouts, no one can compare with Warnier. After all, she has been hiding from Victoria for more than 300 years. So, Charlie said, then I will make the arrangements according to what Miss Lin told me. But can I go to the military airport to pick someone up smoothly the night after tomorrow? No problem. Warnier said, give me the license plate number when the time comes. And go directly there. There will be someone to receive you at the airport. Charlie did not doubt Sun Jidong's ability at all. His arrangements would definitely be watertight, so he said, okay, then I'll go there when the time comes. At the same time, the headquarters base of the Cataclysmic Front in Syria. Because of the huge amount of financial help, the construction speed of the headquarters base of the Cataclysmic Front was extremely fast. After arriving, all the dead soldiers and cavalry guards were arranged to live there. The Cataclysmic Front built a huge ground and underground building complex here to ensure that everyone lives a worry-free life. Moreover, due to the abundant funds and the convenient conditions of ISU shipping, although the Cataclysmic Front is located in Syria, it can still get the best supplies. They have planned to build it into a small city with both offensive and defensive capabilities, and can even accommodate tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people who live normally. In order to allow those children who had lived underground all their lives to receive modern education, a temporary school and an education team were set up. Some highly educated members provided the children with an excellent educational foundation based on the teaching materials of China's compulsory education. As for these death warriors and cavalry guards, they were grateful for Charlie's arrangement for them. After settling down, they were willing to contribute to the construction of the Cataclysmic Front. Almost all of them joined the I-Front's infrastructure team. Every day, like going to work, they worked 8 hours a day to add bricks and tiles to the construction. This group of people from Morocco had just landed 2 days ago. As soon as they arrived here, they were arranged to live with other death warriors and cavalry guards. And those colleagues who arrived here first were also very enthusiastic about them. They helped those who could help. And those who could not help created conditions to help. It often happens that a family is assigned a house arranged by the Cataclysmic Front. Anne is about to pack up and move in quickly. But a large group of colleagues who arrived first and their families come to help. While helping, everyone is also getting to know each other as quickly as possible. And also sharing their experiences in different garrisons. When those who were rescued by Charlie earlier heard from the Moroccans that the warriors' den had begun a major replacement of all its bases. Everyone was horrified, but also extremely fortunate. They were all brought here by Charlie as a whole, including all their families, without undergoing a major replacement. However, there may never be such an opportunity again in the future. After landing in Syria, Rhea was amazed at the scale of the place and everything that had been done for the death soldiers and the cavalry guards. The handsome face suddenly appeared in her mind again. And her admiration for Charlie increased a little more. However, seeing that the death soldiers and the cavalry guards around her were all reunited as families, she felt particularly lonely in her heart. Perhaps she would never have the chance to see her family again in this life. Chapter 68:05. Just when Rhea was feeling lost in the unfamiliar environment, Joseph came to her and said politely, "Miss Song, Mr. Wade just called me and asked you to prepare yourself and take a special humanitarian aid plane to China tomorrow under a different identity." Go to China. Rhea was delighted when she heard this. She didn't know much about Charlie. And she didn't know if she was still valuable to him. She was always worried that he would not waste his energy on her after he returned. After all, she only had 1 or 2 years to live. And it would be difficult for her to survive. She was also of no use, even if she was asked to deal with the warriors' den. With her strength, she would not be able to do anything substantial to them. Just when she thought that she would most likely have to wait in Syria for death from the poison, Charlie actually arranged for her to go to China. She suppressed her excitement and asked, "Mr. Wan, are you telling the truth? My identity is so sensitive. The entire warrior's den should be looking for my whereabouts. Will it not bring great risks to Mr. Wade if you take me to China at this time?" Joseph smiled and said, "There is definitely a risk. But I believe Mr. Wade will be able to solve the problem. Just contact Mr. Wade on the phone. He will pick you up in person at the airport after you arrive in China." This? Rhea was flattered and said quickly, "Please tell Mr. Wade that he doesn't need to worry so much. He just needs to give me an address. I will find a way to meet him after I get off the plane." Joseph smiled and said, "You two have not much contact. But I believe there will be many contacts in the future. Generally speaking, Mr. Wade's decisions will not be easily changed. You just need to do what Mr. Wade tells you." Rhea nodded gently, "Okay. Thank you Mr. Wan for reminding me, I understand." She knew that Joseph was giving her advice. She didn't have much contact with Charlie, and didn't know his temperament and style of doing things. Since Joseph had already suggested this, there was no need for her to refuse Charlie's kindness. From this moment on, Rhea's heart had flown to China, thousands of kilometers away. Although she was 100% Chinese, she learned to speak Chinese and learn the traditional culture when she was a child. But because the Song family had been relying on the warrior's den for so many years, she had never had the opportunity to set foot in this country. She suddenly thought that being able to go there in her last days of life was, in a way, a return to the roots of the Song family. The next day, When Tajuana's first concert in Shanghai was in full swing, Ria had already boarded the military plane under the alias Solina Cheng. She wore a black dress issued by the staff, tied her long hair behind her head, and had a cold expression with full competence. There were several young people wearing the same black clothes on the plane with her. Originally, Old Sun could have arranged a special flight for her. However, considering that as long as the plane takes off, it will definitely leave traces, and a plane that only carries one person will definitely be given special care by someone with interest. So she was specially arranged to take this flight with a certain confidentiality. A relatively large number of members, and reasonable. Therefore, when she boarded the plane, there were already dozens of members of the humanitarian aid team in the cabin. When many people saw the few people in black, their first thought was that these people must be members of the military. As expected, just as Ria sat down, a staff member said to the members of the aid team in the front cabin, "Everyone, we have a high-level confidentiality agent on the plane today. So I hope you don't talk to passengers you don't know throughout the journey. All mobile phones must be turned off and out of your hands according to regulations. Thank you for your cooperation." Most of the international aid team are volunteers in the medical and educational fields.